Hello, everyone. My name is KJ, and today is my spoiler review for season two of X Men '97, episode 9 slash the season finale for season two of X Men '97. This is my spoiler review, guys. So if you have not seen this amazing season two or season one of this show, please pause this. But before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button, aka the like button? That would help my YouTube channel out, and I appreciate it. Come back and let me know what you think about of season two of X Men '97 in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you didn't like it? What? Let me know in the comments below. So, before I start this spoiler review, I have a skit for you guys to let you guys decide whether you want to watch this spoiler review or watch it without watching this episode. And let me talk about the episode in a more scene by scene and a deep dive of this episode. So I'm going to give y'all a chance. So that is y'all's warning of the spoiler review. So enjoy this skit.
What? What? Dang it. Hey, what's up? What are you watching? Oh no. Not you too, bro. Like, it's all good. There's goth baddies all over the world. Like, I don't know. You should ask out Lady Death, cause nobody can snap the world, the universe away with the stone. So maybe you should ask her out. I mean, there's a lot. Again, there's a lot of goth baddies. Okay. Hey, Dad, have you met Agatha? Do I have a chance with Lady Death while Agatha and Wanda are around? This guy don't. And all I want to be in is an Avengers Doomsday. Wow. It's that serious. Okay. I'm I'm gonna go outside in the rain and touch some grass. Goodbye.
Skit. This episode, the final episode, I should say, begins off with Cable and Val Cooper in the beginning of this scene with the other X Force and X Factors, not including Jubilee because she's back with the X Men slash X Corp. And what's going on is they both agree that Gambit has to die to eliminate Apocalypse. And so they're ready to, forcibly take down the X-Men and stuff. But, the X-Men are prepared to fight as well because they have Gambit, in a room chilling. They're trying to wake him up and stuff. But while that's going on, we see the other X-Men members from Rogue, Beast, and Nightcrawler. They finally go back to the temple where Apocalypse's origin story began. And this AI being named Ship remembers Hank, aka Beast. Now, this is their first time, I believe maybe not the first time of this season, but I do believe this should be the first time they came back to this particular temple, which is underwater now. But in the past, this is where they had a young apocalypse become apocalypse, basically. And the whole point is they're asking this AI being named Ship how to destroy apocalypse and stuff. And the AI being Ship tells them that's a bad idea. You're gonna piss off the Celestials because the whole point is Apocalypse must go through what he's supposed to do, but also Cables is supposed to do what he's supposed to go through at the same time. And Beast gets this like powers up where Apocalypse walked through where he meets the Celestial, and Rogue goes in there, and the whole thing is basically somebody has to sacrifice their lives for another life. And it reminds me of the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame scene where Thanos sacrificed Gamora for the Soul Stone, and Natasha Romanoff sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone so Hawkeye can take back to the other Avengers. So it had that type of similarity to it. And the Celestial was talking to Rogue and telling her about that, but she agreed to do it at the time, at this moment, I should say. And what's really interesting is that the Celestial in this one compared to Marvel's Internals, and I could be wrong, but I believe in the Marvel Studio movie Internals, the Celestial was like not really biased. I feel like in this show, the Celestial in this show is biased because I think the Celestial is more on Team Apocalypse because of what Apocalypse is supposed to do. And I think the Marvel Studios MCU version of it was unbiased. Like they were kind of like the TVA or the Watcher. They just watch, and the rules is you cannot interfere with things that are supposed to happen, right? And that's the idea of it. That's what I thought of. I feel like there's a difference the way they did this in X-Men 97 and the live action internals. But that's the only difference I noticed, but I thought that was pretty interesting because right now in the live action of the MCU, the main villain is it's obviously Doctor Doom, guys. Like if you haven't paid attention, you're living on a rock. But the idea of that right now where Marvel's going right now in this current phase is Doctor Doom. Although and whatever happens in Avengers Secret Wars, but it's very interesting, and they just announced all the not all of the Marvel characters, but the main cast for the X-Men movie, which is a pretty interesting choice, and I'm happy for every one of them. But you know, so there's a different like storyline going on with that. So I don't know, and of course, like I said, they things are being redone, rechanged within the MCU behind the scenes at Marvel Studios and stuff. So seeing this scene, I just feel like this Celestial is more on Team Apocalypse, like I said. And this is fine for the main plot for season 2 and what they're trying to demonstrate in an X-Men series. I think this is fine, and I think it's not a big deal. And I honestly like this way versus the way they did it in the Marvel Studios movie, The Internals. I like the way they were going. So I'm more on this side. This version, this story of a Celestial is to me better. than Marvel's Internals. Now, Marvel's Internals movie is a great movie. I liked. I'm one of the small people in this whole world that actually likes that film. So that's just me, y'all. Hey, I do like She-Hulk show, and I think they should run it back. I'm just saying. But I honestly liked it, and I like where they were going with it because I liked how this Celestial was telling Rogue, like, okay, you think Gambit's life's more important than sacrifice your life because Celestial being is like, no, he's all about like, no, Apocalypse needs to do his thing. He needs to be the big bad evil guy, and it's gonna go down, and I'm not gonna let y'all just interrupt it. So that to me that makes sense, and I like the dramatic to it, and I love that throughout this episode it was building up to it, and when Rogue came out of visiting that other world where the Celestial was at, because Charles Xavier couldn't find her with his enhanced helmet that makes his telepathic powers more powerful and it can reach out further like a radio and stuff. He's like, I can't find her. I can't feel her presence. I don't know where she's at, but she's in there talking. And when she came back, her powers was pretty much enchanted. And I thought that was really, really cool. Now, the next scene is the X Force and X Factor. They both show up ready to fight the X Men. And they're like, yo, if you don't give us Gambit, like, we're going to throw hands and y'all don't want the smoke. Now, Havoc is like not thrilled with the idea because what they're about to do is going to declare war on the mutants. Like, this would be like their version of Captain America Civil War type stuff. And Havoc's not thrilled about that type of idea. But Val Cooper and Cable were like, no, we're going to get this guy. And Charles Xavier is like, we don't want to do this. Like, please don't do it. There's another way to do this. And they're really kind of stalling because they're depending on Rogue at most of this too. And which also too, Nightcrawler and Beast are the only two, and Rogue, of course, that Rogue's gonna make the ultimate sacrifice, as they believe they are. She will, and so this is a big deal. And just watching the battle begin, I swear, with the dramatic music just building it up, I was so like locked in this because the dramatic music just playing and the voice actors and actresses in this, their dialogue, there was so much passion in their dialogue, man. Like, it was so awesome. Like, I was locked in. My eyes were on the TV screen, locked in. Like, I was just loving it. And I love like just the love story of Rogue and Gambit. It's one of my favorite, like, they're my favorite Marvel couple. Oh, like, they're my favorite ones. Like, they'd be my number one Marvel love story is Gambit and Rogue. So I just love, like, when everybody was just doing their part, it was just you can tell the passion. They made it so believable, and they're so talented voice actors and actresses. So just that scene just showcase because we're seeing giant celestials come out and they're ready to go, and the Men and Genosha, their little robotic blasters are shooting and stuff. So the fight's about to begin, and when they start, it's all fight, and you see some really cool like moments between every X-Men member and other mutant characters slash Marvel characters. They all get a chance in this episode to showcase their mutant power abilities and stuff. And Storm, anytime that Storm gets use her superpowers is amazing. Live action cartoon, like, she is so cool, and I like this outfit. I think It resembles the Marvel Rivals outfit of Storm. I could be wrong. But it's pretty close to it. Maybe not the exact same outfit, but I like the black on gold, and it kind of reminds me of Wakanda. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's also a scene where Cable literally uses all his mutant powers, and he goes from the top of the building of X Corp and goes through it and just blasts and boom, 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 and that's where he goes toe to toe with his parents, Cyclops and Jean Gray, and I'm just like, holy shit, like this is about to go down, and I like that Cable was taking it easy on them because he loves his mom and dad, and they took it easy on him and stuff. But also, we also get an awesome like fight scene where it's like a 2-on-2 with Wolverine and Morph against Psylocke and Archangel, which I love that fight scene. It was like I said, it was a 2-on-2, and the fighting in that was cool. Like I love how Morph and Wolverine did like some cool tricks, like teaming up on him. Like Morph pretended to be Wolverine, and then he transformed into Doctor Octavius, and he stayed like that for a minute. And I thought that was really cool, and they're just going at it, and Wolverine laid the smackdown on everyone with and plus Morph too. But there was a good fight sequence with that, and I felt that was peak level. Like, and I'm glad to see those characters. It's nice to see them, and I can't wait to see them again in the live action of the MCU. Especially Psylocke. I can't wait to see her again, and who may play her, whether it's the last actress who played her or a new actress. I hope they put her in the live action of the X-Men. So I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Who knows? I don't know. But I just love that. And then I was notice in another scene too, we see Bischoff and Polaris are protecting the door that Gambit's in, because he's in the other room, and we see like the X Factor members trying to talk to Polaris, like, "Come on, don't do this." But what's interesting is this show is really creating a love relationship between Bischoff and Polaris as they kind of like flirt with each other now, which again, I'm all for it. But I don't remember those being an actual couple in comic book. I don't know if it's canon in the comic books, but in my mind now, it's canon now. But that's just me. I know Havoc, but I can't wait to see Bischoff and Havoc kind of fight over this, because Havoc, he seemed really cool in this one as he was battling Jubilee on in the airplanes, or the flying ships, I should say. And they're just, it reminded me of Star Fox 64, the way they were just shooting at each other, or like Star Wars. But I loved that, and I thought that was really cool scene. But as Bischoff and Polaris were getting whooped on by the other X Factor members, Gambit came in the clutch and stopped everything and stuff. But it got all bad until Cable showed up, and he shot Gambit right in the head. Bang. But then Apocalypse wakes up, and I know a lot of people were disappointed in this. I seen somebody be disappointed. I think I know too. I wanted to see the Marvel character that would have been Charles Xavier. Seeing him become Onslaught, I think a lot of people, even myself, was hoping that like that would be the thing, because seeing him doing Charles Xavier as Onslaught to take down Apocalypse, I thought it would have been a better choice. But again, like I said earlier, I love the romance love story between Gambit and Rogue, and honestly, this does make sense because when Apocalypse wakes up, he turns everybody evil, and they're getting ready to rip Charles Xavier limb to limb. Like, this is Apocalypse telling Charles Xavier, you do not want this smoke. Like, you can't handle the smoke, bro. Like, it's over. And good old Charles Xavier with his "I'm not giving up yet." Like, he has that. This is his version of Captain America, Steve Rogers quote, "I can do this all day." Yeah, Charles Xavier can do this all day too because Rogue came in clutch time, and she just pretty much grabbed Apocalypse and turned him into a blue ruby that trapped Apocalypse in there. And this was a tearjerker because the moment her and Gambit hugged and kissed, where her abilities didn't absorb Gambit's abilities, that's Rogue's one of downfall for Rogue's abilities. She can absorb the somebody's powers and mutant. That's how she got all strong and fly, because she did that to Captain Marvel, which I believe that's how they're gonna introduce her. Don't give up on my girl Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. I think that's exactly how they're gonna do that in the MCU. But this just showcased where that didn't happen in here because of the power she got from the Celestial and stuff. And then Gambit came back to normal, but the sacrifice plot twist appeared, and instead of Rogue dying, it was Nightcrawler who sacrificed his life. And again, just like the Soul Stone sacrifice. And it was a tearjerker because it showed everybody moving on. It showed everybody back at the X Mansion. And, this was not just a sacrifice for Gambit and Rogue. It was for them, but it was also for the other X-Men and the future of the mutant society, so they can live in a better future. And that was a good ending, honestly. I know Onslaught should have been the thing, but I think it makes more sense to me, and I know everybody's going to disagree, but to me, as much as I would love to see Onslaught, and I think there's always a different time, a different season to tell that story with him. But for the sake of this whole story of season 2 of X-Men 97, this to me, I have to go with the story of Rogue being the one to save Gambit, and seeing Nightcrawler make that sacrifice makes sense to me. So I have to go with this, and I have to show it love and respect to it because I agree with it. So I'm sorry. That to me makes a good ending to it. And so I'll just talk before I talk about the end credit scene. I liked it. I liked the whole ending to it. And I liked season 2 of X-Men 97. It was a wonderful story. It started off good, and I personally believe it ended good as well. And to see all this made sense. So I honestly love it. And I want to see more of this for sure. So let's talk about it. The first topic is Apocalypse forever gone? No. I believe he's going to get out of that blue ruby stone some way, somehow. And I think some way, somehow, Nightcrawler will be come back. I think the Celestial has big plans or a new destiny for Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler is gonna be their version in storytelling wise, like Loki is the god of the multiverse. You know how like he's in Loki in season 2. Loki's like in the tree, the tree of life basically with his abilities, and he's holding all the multiverse in one, and he's sitting on a chair and it looks like a tree. I think that's what Nightcrawler is going to be, something like that, but for the mutants, you know. I think he's going to be like the Watchmen for the mutants saga as well. That's what I'm thinking. So I think I think Nightcrawler might be done in there, but I think his new adventure in this world where he's with that celestial is a new chapter, a new beginning, right? And I think he's going to be able to be the new ruler, and I think that celestial is going to give him his spot. That's where I'm thinking where they're going to go with that for season 3 of X-Men 97. That's what I'm thinking. That's how I think it's going to be played out. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, y'all. But I think there's something bigger going on for Nightcrawler in that. Also, too, I think that this, to me, if you want to do an onslaught, season 3 should start with Charles Xavier becoming Onslaught. I think now that because there's no Magneto, I think Charles Xavier has to be the guy that turns evil for a moment. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It'd be a good story. But other than that, I think that's where they could go with it, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the end credit scene. Now we see that Mystique sneaks into Val Cooper's office and she finds her files. And Sabretooth's son gets a new higher job position in the, the government, which is like, oh God, like there's more stories to him. But I also too believe that's gonna connect with Nightcrawler a lot. I think Nightcrawler and him have another story to be told too for season 3. And I think Mystique, I think too, I think she's working for someone or working with someone. And I think it's Mr. Sinister. That's what I'm thinking as well. I think he's going to be one of the villains for season 3. I could be wrong. So, but do I think Val Cooper's dead cuz she got shot twice? I would say yes. I think they're done with Val Cooper as far as that. I don't think unless she's just paralyzed, she's going to be paralyzed like a Batgirl story but in Marvel content. But yeah, I think Mystique is working for someone, which I think it's Mr. Sinister, and I think Mr. Sinister uh, is blackmailing Mystique. So I think that's why she has to be this cruel, especially in this time. So that's my opinion. So if I had to give this episode a 1 out of 10, as episode 9, I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. And if I had to give season 2 a 1 out of 10, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. Really good season. Yeah, there's some stuff I didn't like about it. There's stuff that I did like about it. For example, that I didn't like about season 2 as a whole, I would say that they could have done so much more with Apocalypse as far as just him taking over Gambit's body like that. I wish they would have done that in earlier episodes and have him just destroy the world as much and make it like a post-apocalypse type thing. No pun intended in saying that. But I think they could have done more with him as far as like they should have had him done things the way Thanos did things, but in a TV episode type stuff. They could have done more like that. As far as what I did like about it, too, as just far as the season 2 of X-Men 97, the one thing I did love about it is they every episode really kept on point. And even like when they did like Wolverine, trying to get his body, his skull, his skeleton bone to have that silver stuff that is the same material as Captain America's shield. Even that to Jubilee, enjoying joining the X Force for a minute all made sense, and it all helped balance out the main plot of season two. So they were really on a consistence with it back to back. So they did really good with that. They did better on that than season one of X Men '97 to me. But that's just my opinion, y'all, and that is my spoiler review. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And thank you so much every day. Thank you so much for watching these videos, supporting it, liking it. So if you haven't yet, guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace